everyone. I'm super excited to have this panel today with Brieane Olson and Rich Cox, both senior leaders at PacSun, CEO and the Chief Merchandising Officer. And we've had some really interesting opportunities to look at a lot of brands today. This brand in particular has transformed quite a bit from being a brand that we all loved many decades ago that was very core to the surfer community, but has expanded substantially to a lot of different customer segments. And so we're super excited today to learn more about the journey of the brand, learn more about the leadership transitions, but also to learn more about their partnerships, specifically with F1. So to start, Brieane, I would love to hear about your 18-year journey at PacSun and a couple of interesting insights around your leadership journey and things you learned both professionally and personally.
Thank you.
It's on.
Okay. Hi. Thank you so much for having us here today. We're thrilled to be here and speaking about the race. PacSun's a big participant of the Formula One Vegas race, so we're really excited. We have 2 merch launches happening simultaneously here today. In terms of my journey at PacSun, I've been at PacSun, as you mentioned, for almost 18 years. And I started in more of the design function and merchandising. And I've taken just about every role that's been thrown at me, which has been really fun and a very organic, I think, adaptation, which has been really nice because I've had an opportunity to get to know a lot of different teams within the organization, and I've had a lot of opportunity to learn from others as well. So it's been a journey and one that I'm very proud of, and it's been very humbling. In terms of leadership lessons, I think in the first 10 years of my leadership, I was very results-oriented, and I still have a clear focus on results and strategy today, but I'm much more focused on empathy and building strong leadership teams and staying focused on authenticity and always with a clear focus on the consumer.
I love it.
So there's been a real journey there as well.
Love it. Especially when you think about somebody who's been able to build a career in one company, there's must have been many moments where the customer segments changed over time. Were there any particular insights that led you to like strategic growth opportunities for these different customer segments?
I think one of the things, I actually started in luxury apparel.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, so I started with Valentino and Gianfranco Ferré as my first real job, kind of out of college, and recognizing the importance that kind of the designer brands have and the impact they have on mass retail has been a really interesting thought journey and something that has shaped, I think, a lot of how we view partnerships and what's important to PacSun and where our designers get their inspiration and really respecting and understanding the art of how designs begin and why they're important and why they matter to customers.
I love it. And Rich, we're so excited to have you. You should know, Rich decided to join us today. We're so thankful that he wanted to share this knowledge with us. You've been at the company nearly 10 years, is that correct? Oh, sorry, 15 years. 15 years. Can you tell us a little bit about your leadership journey and some of the key insights you've learned along the way?
Sure. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Bree, thanks for convincing me to jump in. Let's see. I've been at PacSun for 15 years, 2 different stints. We call it a sabbatical that I had in between. I started straight out of college and started in the merchandising training program at that time. And like Bree, I've seen every part of the business since then. Fun fact, my first job was at PacSun, women's accessories, and I have morphed and jumped everywhere, e-com to stores, women's to men's, I've seen it all. Over the course of the journey, started to dive into brand partnerships, as you've alluded to. We've done a lot of work in brand partnerships and collaborations, and so I started to jump into a lot of that, and then also even dabbling on the marketing side now. And so that's the journey. It's always been more on the consumer-facing and more creative side, and it's been great.
Awesome. Good to hear. So I understand you all work with F1 in Miami, Austin, and in Vegas. Can you tell us more why you chose F1 as a partner for your brand and any key observations or learnings that have come from that partnership?
I'm gonna let Rich answer this one.
Okay.
It was him and his team had the brilliant idea very early on to partner with F1, and they're really in tune with what's happening in the marketplace first.
Sure. Yeah. That one goes back a couple of years now. We started to identify F1's global impact that it was going to have here, not only globally, but in the U.S. as well. I think we all know Drive to Survive and how that has helped influence at least North America and the U.S. specifically in terms of following the sport to the level that global followers engage with it. And we started to identify that that was going to come here in a big way. So we wanted to reach out to them. If you were to take a few steps back on PacSun and just our mission, we really want to be where the consumer is at, and we want to be at the intersection of culture. For us, it's 4 different pillars, and sports is one of them, and F1 being one of those global sports. It just felt right for us to really want to get involved in that. So yeah, we reached out, and we like to see ourselves as the authority of youth and youth culture, and F1 definitely wanted to make sure if they're coming here to the U.S., they would like to participate in that as well, and so it just felt like a really good partnership.
I love that, the authority of youth and youth culture. Interestingly, Placer.ai, location analytics company, we dug into some data around PacSun, and what we found was there was a certain customer segment called singles and starters. So these are like young people either building their families or living in urban environments that really loved PacSun. We also found that the visitation trends were growing across your estate. So they had increased the visitation trends as a whole by 3% over the last couple of years, by 8% across all outdoor markets. And so we'd love to hear about your social strategy and your customer segmentation strategy that ensures that you're able to target with these new segments, singles and starters. But also we'd love to hear about how you're building in loyalty to ensure that they continue to buy from your stores.
Well, thank you for pulling that data. That's amazing. And we're an organization that probably use equal parts gut and equal parts data, so the instincts I think are really lining up with some of what you're pointing out. One of the exciting things that I'd love to share with this group is PacSun is actually opening up quite a few stores as we look at the next 3 years. So we're making significant investments in our real estate portfolio in outdoor malls. Near colleges, which also speaks to what you're indicating in terms of our core customer is 16 to 24, but I think a lot of the work that the team, Rich's team, and our design and merchant teams have done to expand our customer base are also creating some things that attract an older consumer. So our partnership with Fear of God, Jerry Lorenzo's line, with Essentials, as well as what we just launched this week, which is our partnership with Yohji Yamamoto.
Yes.
The esteemed Japanese designer with Formula One and PacSun, I think, is another testament to being able to reach a broader audience and to continue to stay focused on the 16 to 24-year-olds, but be able to also hold on to them a bit longer. And so I think that your research and your data probably helps support that theory.
What about social commerce? Are you doing anything from the social side to engage more, whether or not it's through influencers or a new marketing strategy?
Yeah, social commerce is a space that we're incredibly passionate about. It's definitely a space that we see as an accelerator. In 2019, our team first started live streaming from our stores, and it was with the A$AP Rocky Vans collab drop out of our Soho store, and we were using Bambuser as the back end of the platform at that time, directly from our site, and we saw really, really great results about customers in this demographic really wanting to engage in live stream selling. And so that became an early indicator of what now has led to PacSun holds the #1 position as the mall-based brand on TikTok.
Really? Wow.
So we were just ranked by Trend Analytics in the top 10 for overall presence on TikTok, and then in social commerce selling, we're #1 on the platform. So,
yeah, let's clap that.
In 2020, we took a bet on what was a relatively new platform then. We amassed 2 million followers on TikTok in the first 18 months, thanks to our amazing social and brand teams.
Amazing.
And really creating organic and compelling storytelling, and even giving customers an inside look into areas of the business that they typically wouldn't see, or areas of the brand like unpacking in the back of a storeroom. Actually, those are some of the videos that went the most viral
Interesting.
and what customers really wanted to see. But the reason we were building that was we also were placing a bigger bet, not just on connecting with the consumer, but believing that the consumer would want to shop differently.
Yeah.
And that this would move from a social media platform to a social commerce platform, which in essence is what we're seeing today.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about your physical presence and your online presence. I think you've done a really good job marrying both in terms of sharing your brand messaging, being really thoughtful about even when you're in stores, connecting back to the digital experience. You just mentioned the live stream. What additional strategies are you pursuing to make sure you have a consistent brand message in both your physical stores as well as your digital strategy?
Sure. I mean, I think we just see them, they're all the same at this point. It is an omni-channel presence.
Yeah.
The consumer expects it, especially the one that we have and the one that we speak to. And the beauty of having a scrappy team is what we like to call it, is we get to have those strategy conversations from end to end as a group when we're approaching different product launches or different strategies. So how do we show up holistically? What is that number one strategy and message? But then how do you want to cascade that, and how do they speak back and forth? I think a good example would be even this weekend. So, you know, we're going to have physical presence here in Vegas for the F1 collaborations with Yogi Yamamoto, but then also with our own product. And so you'll see us pop up at different places, being able to, you know, sell the product here. But then at the same time, we're engaging with the consumer on social media and having different contests, or you can see yesterday at Resorts World, we had a big billboard showing the video, but we're also showing that to consumers globally because we're posting that on our social channels. So we just see it all as one major ecosystem and try to keep it holistic when we're talking about the strategy and approaching each product launch.
I love it. I want to hear more about ComplexCon. You all have launched some new designs at ComplexCon in the past. Can you share more about that?
And first of all, really proud of the ComplexCon team and our partners there. This is their 8th year launching ComplexCon, and this was the first year that they launched ComplexCon in Las Vegas. Rich was there on Saturday, I was there on Sunday, and I think we can really say it was phenomenal. It was an amazing gathering of youth culture and music and art and sport and fashion, so all of the core pillars for PacSun's business. And I think ComplexCon is a really exciting place to do interesting things that are disruptive. And so we chose to launch at ComplexCon a sneak preview of our Yohji Yamamoto collection, which we saw a really nice response from. And there was also an F1 simulator that gave all of the fans a chance to actually drive the race car on the track in Vegas F1. So we have really a great response from that as well.
That's amazing. Okay, when I chatted with you last, you were coming back from a trip abroad. Where were you again?
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, that's right. And we were chatting about all the things that are going on in business these days. And naturally, you have to be really thoughtful about spend. People are concerned about inflation. Hopefully it's going down. But then also there's this discussion around tariffs. And I'm sure in a retail business, especially a global business, you're also thinking about tariffs. Do you have a perspective on that today?
Yeah, I think it's something that we're still navigating, and it's definitely in motion. But a top concern for PacSun and our leadership team is having the ability to continue to maintain, to offer high quality product that's produced in ethical and sustainable ways for our consumer at what we consider a reasonable cost. So we're never going to be inexpensive. And so I don't want to misconstrue that, and we're never going to be a value-oriented brand, but we do want to be able to bring things to the consumer at, you know, price points or give them access to things that otherwise they wouldn't have. And so Yohji Yamamoto is a great example where a consumer would not have access to the Yohji Yamamoto brand or style or aesthetic for under $1,000. You can get the collection between $50 and $150. And so when we look at the potential impact of the global tariffs that are coming, I think really taking a thoughtful approach to our supply chain and helping to work with them to understand if there's opportunities for them to shift perhaps from country to country, so from China to Vietnam or China to Cambodia, for example, would be opportunities for us to partner with them in meaningful ways to make sure that we're ensuring that we're creating consistency in our supply chain and consistency in the quality of the product, but also mitigating having to pass that in full on to the consumer.
Yeah.
Because that's just not sustainable, especially for the market.
Yeah, what I loved about what we've talked about is you really care about making sure that the brand is accessible and affordable, and that people still feel like they can have a differentiated experience with the brand, but recognizing that you have to be thoughtful about spend. And so it's amazing to hear a leader who's it's at the forefront of thinking about those things. So thank you so much for sharing. I also want to better understand, as you think about this brand's growth trajectory, you mentioned you're opening in outdoor malls, you mentioned you're opening near colleges. Are there any additional new markets that you're especially excited about? And also, are there any additional designs or styles that you're especially excited about sharing with the world?
So I'd be happy to take the expansion, and I'll let Rich speak to the new designs and brand partnerships. As I mentioned, PacSun has a lot of opportunity in the U.S. first and foremost, and so looking at significant store growth over the next 3 years.
Amazing.
And we're excited about locations like additional mall locations in New York. Our Soho store is our #1 store, and also smaller university locations, so street locations like what your Placer.ai indicated. Additionally, we recognize that PacSun, which is really rooted in Los Angeles and has the 4 pillars of music, art, fashion, and sport, has a very global, broad appeal. So we will be opening stores in February and March timeframe in the Middle East.
Oh, amazing.
And
Where?
we'll be Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the whole region, UAE. And then we'll be continuing our expansion strategies in China. So we launched primarily on Douyin and Daewoo, which are the live stream selling. So big believers in live stream being able to also be a standalone platform. In China about 2 years ago. And we've had really nice, steady success. And so we'll be continuing to build off of that and looking at additional opportunities as we expand into Asia.
Love it. Love to hear it. All right, Rich, how about you?
We're a busy group. We've got a lot that we're up to. I think to highlight a few, and I'll go through the 4 pillars basically.
Yeah, I love that.
Fashion, we want to continue to build on this Yamamoto partnership. I think we're just scratching the surface there and excited for what's to come with that. On the music side, I think you'll see us continue to do things like we just launched a partnership with it was during Coachella, and we worked with Post Malone, Morgan Wallen, and we just played in that whole genre. And so I think for this coming Coachella and for Stagecoach, you're going to see us try to dive into that again. On the sports side, F1, we want to continue to build with that. That partnership's been phenomenal. But then also we have a Rams partnership and LAFC, and you'll see us continue to build there. And also starting to get into women in sports. We're really excited. We're going to partner with Angel City FC, so we really want to get after that, and really excited for what's to come with that, both on the product side but on the community side. From art, the relationship has been phenomenal, and I think we'll continue to build there. But then you'll see we just launched the PAC Artist Network program, and that's with up-and-coming artists. Our first one was with Kelly Maka out of LA, but we have a new artist every quarter is the goal. And so how do we continue to speak to art, expose our customer to that? And those are just a few, but
Gosh,
I think we're up to a lot.
Those are so many programs and initiatives. It's very exciting. So before we get to questions from the audience, I have a question for each of you. 18 years, 15 years.
Wow.
No doubt you have a favorite PacSun item that you wear all the time. I want to hear what that item is and why you love it.
I think it's constantly evolving.
Really? Okay.
There's always new product coming through. I know the piece I'm wearing today is from the Yohji Yamamoto collection.
Amazing.
And I really love it, and it's very special, and it'll definitely be something something in my closets that's here to stay. Most other things that I bring home end up being quickly adopted by the children in the household.
I love it too.
And so they don't stay with me for too long, rightfully so, and they end up in the schools. And so I think we have a really amazing denim franchise. I'm very proud of the work that the team has done in denim. We have an amazing long-standing relationship with denim, and we just launched with Selena Gomez the Rare Denim Edit,
Amazing.
which gives back to mental health and her mental health foundation. So that's something we're really proud of, and that's a piece that I definitely cherish.
Awesome.
So it's an evolving edit and pick.
I love it. I love the jacket too. Y'all should check it out when she sends it out. Rich, how about you?
I've got a few, but usually it's, I guess I could take this from the angle of what my friends are taking or what my family takes from me at home. They tried to take the Jeff Hamilton jacket, the F1 collaboration that we've done. I don't let them take that one, I like that. People are always taking my Met items. We got this black on black tee that does really well, and that every time someone sees it, they kind of ask about it. But yeah, those are probably two of them. And then we have a partnership called PS Reserve with a lot of grailed items that people are always trying to pick from my closet.
Nice, nice. Well, I might have to go get something from PacSun this week because I'm checking out all of these cool designs. I definitely want to. So actually, before I let somebody ask a question, does anybody out here have a favorite PacSun item that they want? Oh, okay, we have one. Can you share what it is?
Yeah, mine's actually from PacSun.
Love
it.
Love it.
And yeah, I was gonna ask about the Met because I have a few pieces from the Met, and I get compliments on that all the time. I was wondering how that came about and what the response is on that so far.
Same as some of our other partnerships, wanting to really, like I said, speak to being at the center of culture and art being important, the Met being obviously an authority in the art space, but then also the connection to fashion with the Met Gala, right? So we really wanted to try to partner with them. That's how that came about. They were really into it, especially with how we could bring youth to them. And so, again, similar to the F1 conversation, that's how that came about. But it's been a great partnership and lots of new deliveries, and there's usually a key story behind each one, and it's great.
I saw a couple other hands up that had a favorite PacSun item. What's yours? Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
So you have
Oh, yeah.
a partnership. And it's funny enough, I'm with the UFC, but I just wanted to ask the question, so I'm mocking it. But PacSun, you've been there 18 years, 15 years. It has evolved over that time. I think I go back 10, 15 years ago when I heard PacSun, when we were partners, I didn't expect to have that cool style that you have now. What has that growth been as a brand and trying to change that culture and bring this new energy and new look and the youthfulness of the brand?
Great question.
I think some of the things that we were great at 15 years ago are still what we're great at today in terms of some of our core pillars and addressing the youth market and what they care about. I think we've been fluid and dynamic enough to shift while the customers are shifting, and that's something that I think has really helped PacSun to stay ahead. We don't have anything in particular in mind other than catering to this youth consumer and staying in lockstep with them. And so I think really respecting that relationship with the customer has been a big piece, and then co-creation and co-creating with the community. And that community includes brand partnerships like UFC. It includes, celebrity partnerships like A$AP Rocky, Selena Gomez, Emma Chamberlain, and bringing those right voices into the community so that we're actually co-creating our stories together. I think that's the power of PacSun and what's helped us to stay and maintain our relevancy. And then over the last few years in particular, really refining the strategy and making sure that music, art, fashion, and sport are the 4 key focuses has just created a lot of clarity for the team in terms of what do we really want to stand for, what really matters. But that also may remain fluid over time. And so I think just always continuing to reevaluate and engage with the consumer and co-create is the real secret.
Any last questions? One more. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I feel like you guys have managed to do very well the aspect of bringing value to the lower price and closing that gap between luxury and everyday items. Do you think, can you guys foresee the company opening like a new door or a new category into more luxury premium, like 50 out of 50 collect like items given that you have those partnerships with such a high, like yogi, fear of God, and like these things that I personally think that it's really hard to, keep that luxury at a low cost, because part of the luxury is actually like the high ticket, even if it's not merely reflected in the item's quality. But can you guys see like stepping into a new realm now that you guys are getting so close to that?
I'm not sure it'll be, we think about it from time to time, and sometimes there's product drops or partnerships that we have where we want some limited edition items, so that very much is part of the strategy, depending on that partnership. But I think also some of the beauty of what I think we offer is that we are allowing more people to engage in product that they may not normally have access to. So I do think we want to make sure that it remains at the forefront of what we do and what we bring to the consumer. But yes, for some of our loyalty members, or if we want to build some excitement and have not necessarily one-of-ones, but to your point, some 10 of 10s or things like that. Case by case, I think I see them as opportunities going forward.
Well, this has been such an amazing conversation, Brieane and Rich. I feel like I learned a lot about PacSun's brand, your goals in terms of your partnerships with F1 and others, but I especially got a sense for the joy that you both have around the company and the brand and what you offer to your consumers. And so I think that's something that I will carry with me. So thank you so much for sharing it with this group.
Thank you for having me.